I'm Karen Ewert. I'm the founder and head of school at the Sycamore School, and I'm really excited to see so many people this morning. Yay, students who got up bright and early. I know that's hard. So this breakfast serves several purposes. It's a celebration. We've almost completed our third year at the Sycamore School, and our students have demonstrated amazing growth, and we're going to get to showcase that at several points during the presentation. So number one, it's a celebration for the school. And number two, we're a nonprofit. And so we do depend on fundraising to augment our income. So throughout the year, we work with the community, and this is a time where we ask the community to help us. Our goal is to raise $30,000 at the breakfast, and there'll be several different ways to do this. So one is mail in a check. Another is we'll have a PayPal link in the chat that'll pop up several times. You can also go to our website and we have a link as well. A final way is through the Evite. There's a pledge link that you can donate directly there. So several ways: check, PayPal, pledge link. We have a really packed breakfast this morning, and so we're going to go ahead and get started and introduce our first speaker, who is one of our inaugural parents, Mary Timms.
Thank you. Hi. Can I go? Okay, good morning. My daughter Annabelle is one of the charter students at Sycamore. I found this school when I was looking for a place that would work better than the public school she attended in 7th grade. Please understand, I believe Fairfax County has excellent schools. Annabelle did very well in elementary school, but for her, all the changes happening in 7th grade with a bigger school and more challenges became a nightmare. I'm sure many of you have experienced similar situations. So I went looking for private schools that would have smaller classes and fewer tests. I hadn't realized how much anxiety Annabelle felt about all the tests that this county and state require. And through a referral, I learned about the Sycamore School the summer before it opened its doors. I contacted Dr. Karen, and she invited me to meet the teachers and some potential parents at an afternoon coffee. Later, Annabelle and I attended an evening with sample classes so she could learn about how this school would be different from what she knew before. She liked it, and I felt it would be a good fit for her. So 3 years ago, Annabelle walked in the door. She blossomed. She learned to speak up for herself, to speak out. She can take her math lessons at her own pace. She's learning how to do research, write up her discoveries, and present the results in a way that is much more real world than anything I ever learned in school. I often describe this style of learning here as Montessori for older kids. The teachers and staff at Sycamore have helped her through many challenges. I believe they have helped her learn to believe in herself. I know there are aspects of a typical high school life that she's not experiencing. A small school just can't offer the wide range of music or sports or clubs that a larger school can. But the intimate setting at Sycamore offers so much more support, both educational and emotional, than a larger school can, that I don't think she's missing much. And Annabelle is adamant that she wants to graduate from Sycamore. So we're here for the duration. I hope you will be too. Thank you.
Thank you, Mary. Next, we have a video from one of our students, Diego, who's doing a speech for us.
My name is Diego. I'm in 8th grade. This is my first year at TSS. I was in public school for a number of years before I switched to homeschooling and school. Public school was never a great experience for me because I struggled with handwriting and it was always such a prominent part of public school education. I have a disorder called dysgraphia, which is sort of like dyslexia for handwriting. My hand hurts when I write for long stretches of time, and my handwriting is awful. This problem was magnified because I was usually in classes with kids who were advanced and thus were better writers. The main reason why I switched to homeschooling was that I needed to be on a computer anytime I was writing, and public school wasn't willing to accommodate that at my age. My mother is a former college professor, so she taught me everything in her area of expertise, but she wasn't really qualified to teach me in other subjects. I didn't want to stop homeschooling at first because I liked having the freedom of working at my own pace, and I was only willing to leave for a school with the same type of freedoms. I prefer the Sycamore School to public schools because of the greater emphasis on the students. I remember being in classes in public school where the teacher didn't even know my name, especially in subjects I wasn't very good at, like music or art. Past a certain age, many teachers in public school tend to mostly pay attention to the best students, even though the best students are the ones who need the least assistance. The classes in TSS are far smaller, so the teachers are able to pay more regard to each individual student and have a better idea of where every student is at. At TSS, every class is tailored to fit the students and their needs. I also find that many of the assignments to be more exciting and engaging. For example, last year in our forensics experience, we captured insects around the school to test their DNA for a bacteria called Wolbachia, which can be used to prevent insects from contracting diseases such as malaria and spreading it to humans. In the same experience, we also wrote and acted out an hour-long court case putting the 3 witches on trial for the murder of Macbeth. When we had to switch to distance learning, the transition was very easy because the school is small size. We were able to set up all of the classes very quickly and continue with the curriculum. Unlike most other schools, Sycamore is willing to accommodate its students' needs and allow them to work in whatever way is best for them. The goal of learning at TSS is preparing the students for life, not preparing them for a test.
Thank you, Diego. Our next student is, we have Sumner, who is going to do a drum solo live. Sumner, thank you. That was amazing. And I'm sorry, it was a marimba, not a drum solo, a marimba. That's an amazing instrument. Wow, thank you. Sumner can also play the drums. He's multi-talented. All right, next, I'm gonna share my screen and we're gonna go over the year in review. So bear with me while I share my screen. Resilience. The theme for this year is resilience. At the Sycamore School, we reassure students that mistakes are essential to learning and encourage students to take academic risks and challenge themselves, to dig deeper and push through frustrating moments. The school year started normally. We welcomed 24 new students to our school and engaged in various team building and getting to know you activities. Our fall kickoff field trip was to Urban Evolution, where students climbed on aerial silks and ran through a parkour course. Later in September, we ventured to Teddy Roosevelt Island, and this was a way to introduce ourselves to our experiences. A favorite memory was certain older students getting lost in Teddy Roosevelt Island. While the students had maps and the island was small, it didn't prevent them from calling Miss Kim for help. They were unsure of how to get to their destination, but it all worked out and made for a good laugh. We also welcomed Mr. Michael in our first band class. I have to admit, the first weeks were a little rough, but after that, a cacophony turned into all melodic sounds. At the end of September, we gathered at Clarendon Beach Shack for a fall restaurant night, and new friendships started forming. Parents connected, and we enjoyed sitting at large tables with mixed groups of staff, students, and parents. In October, we basked in the glow of the Nationals World Series victory. Lydia made sure to give us series updates, and many of us stayed up late to cheer on our team. We learned that Miss Kim was a devoted Nats fan. What an amazing story, the Nats winning all the away games and bringing home the World Series championship. Halloween is always a fun day at the Sycamore School. Students and staff dressed up for the occasion. Miss Kay was a Visco girl, Miss Claire was Taco from Trello, and Miss Kim and Miss Taylor wore German dresses. Josh stepped up to do some face painting, which was pretty cool. Fall also brought us a vast assortment of injuries. Kostya and Evan sported boots, and Seth had a knee brace. We looked like the walking wounded. One of the students' favorite school projects was the Wolbachia project. It was a hands-on lab from Vanderbilt University and was part of the forensics experience. Students worked on using molecular biology techniques similar to those used at crime scenes. They were using techniques to isolate DNA from insects and to determine if those insects were infected with the parasite Wolbachia. Fall also brought us some engaging after-school clubs. Cooking Club was a student favorite and a staff nightmare. Students cooked up amazing treats while staff tried to rein in the controlled chaos. A surprise favorite elective was furniture rehab. Students brought in pieces of furniture to repurpose. There was sanding, drilling, painting, reupholstering, and woodworking. It was exciting to watch the projects evolve. As the holidays approached, students planned a holiday party. There were cookie making, holiday movie viewing, and video game tournaments. We also collected supplies for doorways. The new year brought our winter showcase, where students displayed and explained their experience projects. Our youngest cohort created storybooks that they read to Montessori preschoolers. Our civilizations group explained their founding documents and displayed their visual representations of their civilizations. Our forensics group put on a mock trial of Macbeth. Then came J-term. Our younger students picked an individual, a change maker, to research. They created a speech, dressed as their change maker, and were interviewed by interested staff, students, and peers. Our change makers included Billie Jean King, Alvin Ailey, and Frida Kahlo. Our older students picked a world problem that resonated with them, conducted research exploring that problem, and proposed a solution. Projects included creating a website and offering defense classes to women in Armenia who were victims of domestic violence, creating a boat propeller that would not harm manatees, and determining the efficacy of physical restraint and seclusion in mental health facilities. During J-term, we took a break from field trips, and instead we brought in different movement activities to the school, including karate, dance, and Pilates. Our students are often known for their comic relief. Some highlights included various sightings of Quinn's squirrel, a baby shark vacuum, and rainbow butterfly clips. We also expanded our community service projects and offerings to include teaching seniors technology at the Jefferson, preparing bag lunches for a homeless shelter, and writing letters to soldiers abroad. Some essential questions were answered. Do double stuffed Oreos really have double the stuff? Is Hawaiian pizza a must-have or a must-not? And are Sycamore School umbrellas sustainable during high winds? The answers are yes, maybe, and no. Some favorite events of the year include the Sycamore School's first trivia night at Clarendon's Beach Shack, lunchtime poker games, Pi Tanza Wednesdays, Sprout Ball, Thinking Thursdays, and Friday Fails. Just as we were settling into the second semester and our new experiences, COVID hit. Did I mention resilience? This year, this concept took on new meaning. We all had a surprise when we were forced to switch to remote learning. It was not our first choice. I often refer to these situations as going to our plan B. At first, we thought it would be just a few weeks. While weary, students and staff also seemed energized and ready to face the challenge. However, it soon became clear that this would be our new normal. Some students actually preferred remote learning and were thriving. It was easier for some students to ask questions and communicate using Google Chat versus asking questions out loud. However, others struggled with not seeing their peers or connecting to teachers in person. Their daily routine was thrown off, and they struggled to acclimate to the new normal. So we met with parents and students together to craft a plan that worked for that student and that family. As distance learning progressed, some of our struggling students started finding their groove, while some of our thriving students lost momentum. Teachers met several times a week to discuss students and brainstorm how best to support them. Flexibility and pivoting were two commonly used words. Fridays are normally reserved for field trips and community service outings. So we started to craft different experiences and activities for our remote Fridays. On some Fridays, we offered virtual field trips, a choice of movement activities, and independent study options. Other Fridays, students chose an art project, community service task, or Earth Day project. For our independent study, some students took on a virtual coding class, while others learned to knit or tried various cooking activities. One Friday, we held a virtual career day where students listened to different speakers do TED Talks, describing their jobs and asking questions. While this wasn't our preferred mode of learning, there have been a few silver linings. We've been able to see some gaps in our students' organizational skills and help them fill those gaps. We've also seen students display their creativity, kindness, and yes, resilience in some unique ways. What has happened to us as a school, community, nation, and world is unprecedented. However, it appears that our students' experience with adversity and resulting resiliency has helped them navigate this latest hurdle, and they seem to be doing quite well. I'm incredibly proud of my staff, students, and families. Thank you for coming together to support one another. Pardon me while I take a moment to get out of this screen and into another. All right, our next speaker is Matt Fall, who is also a Sycamore School parent.
Thanks, Karen. My name is Matt Foley, and I currently have a sixth grader, Keegan, at the Sycamore School. This is our first year at the Sycamore School, and we couldn't be happier with our experience. Keegan is a very smart child, but wasn't enjoying his prior school experiences. On most days, it was a battle to get him to go to school, and he would often come home upset and frustrated. And as you can imagine, what that would lead to the next morning when he had to go back. Given the complexities of the middle school years, my wife and I were looking for a different experience for our son. When we toured the Sycamore School, Keegan became excited about learning again. As school started, we were all very nervous, but that nervousness quickly turned back into excitement. Keegan was coming home excited and willing to talk about all of his daily experiences. During the first 2 weeks at the Sycamore School, he talked more about his school experiences than he had ever talked about school before. That was the moment we knew we made the correct decision for Keegan. Fast forward to now. He has continued his differentiated experience while participating in distance learning. His teachers collaboratively worked with him on every subject and held him accountable for the learning of new content. They have continued to work with him and challenge him as he's learned new content. In addition, he's taken on new challenges around the home. For example, today, he cooked us all sausage, bacon, and eggs, all on his own. We couldn't be happier with our decision and believe that the Sycamore School has been the right decision for our son and our family. Back to you, Karen.
Thank you, Matt. Next, we have our school counselor, Yvette, is going to share a poem that she wrote for our student talent show, but we enjoyed it so much we wanted to share it with you.
Good morning, everybody. Can you hear me?
Yes.
I often have trouble with my audio. Okay, yes, I'm Miss Yvette, as Dr. Karen said. This is a poem that I wrote for our talent show that our students coordinated and put on entirely by themselves recently while we were doing distance learning. And as you'll learn, I was missing our students and staff very much when I wrote this. This is called An Ode to the Sycamore School. If the Sycamore School walls could talk, I wonder what they would say. Maybe, hey, where did everybody go? Why is everyone staying away? I'm sure the canteen misses our morning meetings and seeing us in our green shirts. It probably even really misses hearing all of our blurts. All of the microwaves and dishes probably miss us too. The canteen walls are missing the silliness from the lunchtime crew. The black box walls are probably pretty lonely and confused. No M&M, no Ms. K's advisory boys, no improv class too. The black box walls are also getting a bit of a break. They are getting a rest from many sprout ball mini earthquakes. The makerspace is missing the buzz of creative minds, like during furniture rehab when students made art out of random finds. Drawing, painting, drilling, sketching, these are all impressive sights. The walls are wondering when Mr. Bryan will say, draw light until it's right. Instead of being at school, we are all learning and working from home. And when someone asks what day it is, the answer is usually, I don't know. Life is a little different. Seconds sometimes feel like hours. Zoom meetings, Google chats, and for many people, taking fewer showers. The staff totally get it. Social distancing is sometimes hard to do. We just want you to know that we are very proud of you. We miss the sound of hearing your ideas in the classrooms. Some of us even miss the meetings about the bathroom. Mr. Bryan, Ms. Carrie, Ms. Kathy, Ms. Selena, Ms. Claire, Ms. Julie, Dr. Karen, Ms. Kay, Ms. Kim, Ms. Madeline, Ms. Maggie, Ms. Michelle, Ms. Olivia, and Ms. Yvette. Nothing really rhymes with this. I just wanted you to hear our names. Don't forget that we're always here for you. This absolutely will not change. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Yvette. Next, we have a video of students being asked how they have been doing with distance learning.
My teachers at the Sycamore School have helped me during remote learning by supporting me when I had questions. They were all easy to contact and they responded quickly. I got the help I needed to keep working. They also gave me lots of feedback to help me make my work better.
My first example would be meeting with me every day at a scheduled time. So I have a routine follow-up, every single day with at least one teacher, which I think that is very, it's just how much they care, and that's very, very nice. Another example would be keeping a daily log of my accomplishments. So they make these schedules to help me with my work, which I think is awesome. And then my last example would be encouragement, how much they encourage me to finish this work, how much they encourage me to help me with this, and I honestly think I don't think I can get a better experience. I think TSS and what their staff and stuff have been doing, at least personally for me, this year is great.
During this distance learning experience, the teachers of TSS have helped me in many ways. Whether it's over a Zoom call or Google Chat, the teachers always have an answer to my question and are ready to help when I need it. Thank you to everyone in our TSS community and especially to the TSS teachers and staff.
My two favorite things about distance learning with the Sycamore School are Zoom video calls with our teachers frequently, because we can still get responses to our work. And the second is schedules, because I do not get any work done without schedules.
I love having teachers just be to talk to me basically every day. And everything has been going well. It's just been really fun. And if I do get stuck, they will pretty much help me. So I would like to thank you to all the teachers who helped me during difficult times. Thank you.
I recently got a question about how the Sycamore School has helped me with distant learning. It's helped me by, whenever I get stuck on a question or need help on a paper, all the teachers are willing to help me, and they make, they're flexible and they find times, we can meet. And I really appreciate that, and I want to say thank you. Also, I just want to say I've seen other schools that just give them papers and just tell them to do it. But this school is amazingly different. They help us, they make sure we succeed, and they make it actually really fun. And I really appreciate it. So thank you very much again to all the teachers and staff at TSS. Thank you.
Oh, you're muted, Karen.
Next, we have Mr. Michael, our music teacher, and he's going to introduce some recorded student performances.
Good morning, everybody. Well, I'm glad we just have some examples from some of the kids as to what they've been doing at home. I've been having weekly meetings with all of them individually, and it's a big change from our large group setting at school. But they've been very flexible and staying willing to learn and to participate. And I believe we're going to have a selection of students playing here, including Asher and Evan and Ian on the drum set.
All right. Excellent. Thank you, Michael. And thank you, Evan and Asher. Next, we have a parent, Rachel Nigerian, who is going to be talking a little bit about her experience with having her daughter at the Sycamore School.
Thank you, Karen. Thank you for giving me this opportunity to speak. Can everyone hear me? Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Sorry about the dog, if you heard it in the background. My name is Rachel Onanya Najarian, and I was born in 1970, raised in the 70s and 80s. So much like many of you, perhaps I was not raised with any options for my education, and went to public school, as did most, since private school was fairly elitist at that time. And like many of you, I didn't have parents who knew what I had for homework, who stayed on top of me all day and all night, who helped me with my homework, or who talked to my teachers every day, all the time, and knew more than I did about what it was I needed to do. So fast forward now, I'm a parent of 3 children, a 20-year-old, a 16-year-old, and Nairi Najarian, who is an 8th grader at Sycamore. And much like probably many of you, we are very different parents from the way our parents were. We're constantly on top of the children. We were on what they were doing, constantly evaluating their education, their teachers. Is it too much homework? Is it A's, B's? Should it be grades at all? Academic, social, moving schools, constantly evaluating Montessori, Waldorf, homeschool. I'm sure we've all been down this route before. I think pretty much every parent has. So maybe around the time that Nairi was 10 or so, and her oldest was 15, 16, we believed we were actually looking at the wrong thing, maybe getting the whole thing wrong, and that there was one single thing that mattered, which was by the age of 17, would our children have confidence? Nothing else mattered, just that they be confident. Everything else would follow from there. So now, where do you learn that? So the Sycamore School has been our partner in helping to raise a confident child in Nairi. And I can't say enough about that. I can't tell you how. Karen can tell you how. But Sycamore has given Nairi a very clear ability to believe in herself, her outstanding and unique qualities, and maybe her not so adaptable qualities. Don't get me wrong, she's listening. She has anxiety at times. She doubts herself. She's uncertain and perhaps sometimes blows things off. But she handles it. She recognizes what she's good at, and she tries to do it more. And she's accepting and learning to increasingly accept what she's not so good at and do it without challenge and deal with it and work with it. So we see a child who loves her failures and her successes. And I guess, as many of you know, my husband doesn't believe there is such a thing as failure. So maybe there's not. She has a hard day for social reasons or academic reasons. It pales in comparison to the joy she feels when she sees her ability to process it, handle it, move on, and learn from it. And so TSS is teaching Nairi not to avoid her challenges, but to meet them. And so she's her own master. This is how we see it. And we are not even a fraction as involved in what is going on with her as we were with the first 2. And the results are, well, I love my children. They're all great. But the independence and the confidence she feels is clear. And she is her own master and not the slave to some ideal or some standard that someone else gave her. These are her standards. So they can say that not every school is for every child, but I think confidence is for everyone. So we're a big fan and we'll be here till the end. Thank you.
Oh, thank you, Rachel. Thank you so much. Next, we have Olivia, who Olivia and Brian have been in charge of our makerspace and our art instructors. And so Olivia is going to take you through a video of our student artwork.
All right. Hi, everybody. So I'm going to share my screen. Thank you so much for being here. I'm super excited to share some artworks that students have made. this year, both in the makerspace and at home since we transitioned to remote learning. So in the makerspace, students are encouraged to hone technical skills, experiment with new materials, and embrace challenges with an open mind. It's always good to start with the basics, such as observational drawing skills. This not only lets us practice how to look closely at our surroundings and render them more accurately, but it's also an exercise in mindfulness, which is an essential component of the arts. Another essential component is experimentation. Stepping out of our comfort zone by trying something new, seeing what happens when we mix these colors or those materials. This is how we discover new things. Parts of it may be uncomfortable, but it can also be very exciting. So some examples of the artwork you'll see in this slideshow, sculptural pieces with cloth or gesso painted in bright colors, students using to learn hand tools and tools like the drill press, challenged to come up with forms that would be interesting from any angle. You'll also see 2D artworks in several mediums. Some students stuck to observational drawing from life. Others made their own renditions of classical artworks on paper. Again, all students were encouraged to experiment, and students seemed to really enjoy that. On a personal note, as an artist myself, I love being able to share my own experiences with students and talk about contemporary artists. And I even had the opportunity to show students my studio at the Arlington Arts Center down the street. So especially in these really difficult, challenging, strange times, the arts are especially important. They can help us manage stress and anxiety, find creative outlets for self-expression, and most of all, it can be a fun and enjoyable activity. It's been really exciting to see students' progress and how they've been improvising at home to solve creative problems, even without the structure and supplies of the makerspace. So here is the slideshow, which again is a very, very small sampling of the awesome work students have been doing this year.
Thank you, Olivia. That was amazing. Our next speaker is, we have a recorded speaker, one of our students, Glory.
My name is Glory. I'm in 6th grade, and this is my 2nd year at Sycamore. I came to the Sycamore school because my old school was horrible. It felt like the teachers didn't care about me. Basically, it didn't match my needs or learning style. I hated it. I didn't like having to go there every day. Sycamore is different from my old school because there are choices in how you learn. For example, some people learn better with written projects, and some people learn better with more visual projects. At TSS, you can choose which one you want to do while improving your skills in other types, since in life you won't always get to choose which type of project you want. The assignments are challenging but the fun kind. When I first came to the school, I was so excited. There were so many different options, and a lot of the time I wanted to do extra choices. I liked how I could do projects in styles that I was confident in. The Sycamore School has classes called experiences. Experiences are transdisciplinary, meaning that they mix together all the main classes, sometimes more too. It's in English, science, math, social studies, and art. In one of the experiences, Civilizations Project, I got to do something I'd always thought was really cool, make a fictional civilization. There were details I never would have thought of adding, like a founding document, an origin story. When I was procrastinating adding details about the government and economy to the founding document, teachers not only made sure I did it, but also ensured that it was fun, something nobody in my old school would have done. If you're having trouble with a certain aspect of the project and are further behind than most of the class, then you won't just move on, you'll keep working on it until you understand it and then move on, instead of just doing the next thing with the rest of the class. This way, it's a complete project and it doesn't look rushed. The classes are smaller so that you can get the attention you need when you need it. During the regular school year, Sycamore also has field trips every Friday. It makes learning less stressful because we aren't sitting at a desk all week and we can learn while being active and having fun. In my opinion, Sycamore also handled coronavirus and the transition to distance learning very well. We all brought our computers home. The systems we use are well organized. When the decision was made to switch to distance learning, it felt natural, like everything had been planned out. It wasn't chaotic like you would expect. We could communicate with the teachers and get feedback easily. I like school a lot more now, and I actually enjoy doing it every day.
And Karen doesn't know this, but we have a special presentation that Glory put together, and this is for all of the teachers and admin staff at Sycamore.
Hello, teachers. Hi, teachers. You've been very good teachers to me this year.
Thank you for, participating in this crazy teaching from home thing. I know it's not what you signed up for, but thanks for doing it. And you guys are all doing really well. Thanks for helping us learn stuff from home and at school for the other half of the year. Anyway, you're really awesome. Bye.
Thank you to all the teachers who have helped us through difficult times and before. I'm very thankful, and I hope you guys have a good time on your summer break and also live well. Bye.
Thank you, teachers, for helping me with my schoolwork.
Thank you for being such wonderful teachers. Thank you, Sycamore School teachers, for helping me learn and succeed throughout the year. I really appreciate all of you. Thank you.
Hey, this is Ian. Just to all the teachers and staff of TSS. I just want to say thank you for all you've done. Even though we're stuck at home, making it fun.
Hi, it's AJ, and I want to thank all the Sycamore School teachers for helping me, helping me through these tough times and making school fun for me. I really appreciate how hard you all work and help me accomplish my goals in school.
Back to you, Karen.
Wow. Thank you. Thank you. Oh my gosh, that was really, really sweet and heartfelt. Well, we are wrapping up our fundraising breakfast. Our goal for the fundraising breakfast is to raise $30,000. We raised a little over $26,000 last year. Being a nonprofit, fundraising is a big part of how we're able to offer lower tuition than most other private schools. We're also aware that because of COVID, Some families may be requesting additional financial aid or may find themselves in a position to need need-based scholarships. Please help us, this year we've already allocated over $100,000 to financial aid and need-based scholarships. Please help us reach our fundraising goal and be accessible to more families. The Sycamore School serves a unique niche in our community. We explicitly teach executive functioning skills, socio-emotional skills, and other transferable skills that are essential to cultivating independent thinkers and doers. We want our students to understand themselves and how they learn best so that they can be lifelong learners who give back to their community. As part of our community, we're asking for your help in supporting the Sycamore School so that we can achieve our goals and continue to thrive. Thank you. Thank you so much for coming today. Really, the turnout's amazing. And again, there are a couple different ways to give. You can give by sending in a check to the school. You can use the PayPal link, and I believe in the chat section we've also given links as well. A big thank you to all our students who participated. I know it can be scary speaking and performing, and so I'm especially proud of our students. And a big thank you to our wonderful parents and our partners, CBRE and Complete Back Office, for helping make this possible. I hope all your families are healthy, happy, and safe. And I hope to see you all soon. Thank you so much for joining us.